Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a new video in our Diwani script. In today's lesson we are going to look into the letters Sin, Sad and Ta. Now for these three letters we are going to talk about Noon, because this move is basically a Noon move. We are going to discuss all shapes, beginning, start, end, and we are going to talk about something that we missed in the Ha in the previous lesson, which is the long move, the Kashida move. There is a move that we use to increase the length of a letter, which comes in letters like Ha, Sin. We have a Sin that is this long, it's connected to Alif. Sometimes we do it with a Sad, and it comes with different letters. So we will have a look at that because it comes with the Sin. Now, also with the Sad sometimes. With regards to the letter Noon, the Noon move. Now here, it's the same as the one we saw in letter Alif. In letter Alif, we saw two Alifs. The first one and the second one. We basically take this second move and we put it into the ending of the Sin or Sad. Therefore, we are going to revise this move, which is going right. We're taking some of the height here, going back to the left, then upward. Now, if you looked at the orientation of the letter, you will find that it is pointing towards the left. Finally, with the tip of the pen, you do this decoration. As we can see, the letter is like a sort of an inclined egg. If this was the writing line, it would look as if it's an egg about to fall to the left. Now, let's talk about the first moves of the Sin. We hold the pen 90 degrees. We do 1. The move is going down, then breaking to the left. We stop, we lift the pen, we come back, we do 2. As we can see, it's inclined. Then we stop and we come back with this letter. Now here we've got the first curve this way and the second curve goes the other way around. Again, 3 points in the middle. This would be almost 2 points of drop. Now here, you could have them 1 point each, or this would be 1.5. So, this is the Sin by itself. When it comes at the beginning of a word, we have to remember that these 3 lines should be like this. For example, if it was connected to an Alif. Now, depending on what it's connected to, if it was connected to the following letters, Sad, Ta, Ain, Qaf, Waw, and these 5 letters. If it was connected to these 5 letters, we change the shape into this. We've got 1, 2, we go up for 3, then we go down. So for example, Si and Sad. Can we see what we did here? If we did Waw, for example, Su'al. Sin, Waw. For example, can you see what happened here? Let's write sa'i. We go down, then we stop, we go down, then up. Not too much up, barely going half a point up here. Then when we come back, we curve up and down, just like we did for about this curvature. You see the small curve? We go up, then down. We add the ayn, and we add the ya, sa'i. The ya is also the same as the this move. So here we saw how it looks like with the normal letters alif and ba and these letters. Special case for these letters to go up a bit. Now, if there was a nabira after it, we sort of add a distance. For example, sin and ba or ya. For example, sayyi'ah. Sin. As you can see, the distance here is equal to this one, but it's quite bigger than these three. This is quite clear that this is a sin and those are nabirat. We do have another way of connecting the sin if we had letters such as the ya and ha after it. So if we had any of these letters, the connection would change into this one, the curvy one. So here we've got the first nabira, the second nabira. Now the third one would automatically change into this one. Then you write a ya. For example, shape. So here we can see that the nabira is the connection, like 1, 2, 3 played as the nabira. If we had a ra after it, it's also another connection. We do 1, 2, 3, we go up, stop, then go down a ra. For example, the word sir, secret. We've got 1, 2, and 3 is this nabira. Meanwhile, how it looks like with a dal is basically like this. First, the height is bigger for the dal than this. Second of all, you have the 3 nabirat here. This is a 4th for the dal. Here we have 2 and a 3rd one for the ra, connected to the ra. So these are the cases for connecting a scene. This is the first shape of the scene. There is another shape of the scene, which is the kshida one, and it is a very long curvy shape. From the previous few lessons, we learned that we have the letter ba that basically goes like this. We start from here, we turn it around, and we go all the way down, and we rotate. We have a scene that is similar to this one, but it's not that deep down here. It starts up high, but it goes more to the left, like this. Finally, it connects to the jasad, to the tummy of this scene. This is a scene. Now, when this connects to an alif, as we saw before, we go all the way down, then we go up. Now, sometimes we have a decoration here to add to the alif. You should be careful using this because, for example, you can't use it with a ha, because ha needs to be connected from above. You can, for example, write hasana with it. So you start with a ha. You go up a bit to show that it's a scene. Then you go down like this. Then you do the nun and the ta marbuta. This is a good use of the kshida scene. It's really nice with alifas. but be careful not to use it, for example, with a ba, because if you used it with a ba, it's not, you see, you've got this one, and then you have to connect a ba to it, which would be quite hard. It looks wrong. Meanwhile, if you were to write sayya, it works, because you don't have, can you see it? It looks good. The balancing feature of the writing is good. You've got a very long gap with a composition here. So be careful using this one, because it is quite big and there are some rules about it. With regards to the connection, or the connecting it to other letters, it is the same. Like, for example, we talked about connecting it to ayn. There's also this connection to ayn. We will talk about when we go to the ayn letter. We have ayn that you could write like this. This is when we use this connection. The other ayn, we just use it normally. We just write this one. So depending on what is connected after it, what comes after it, we change the shape of the scene. When it comes in the middle, so here's the connection, whatever the letter was before it, then you simply just add these numerals. Then depending what is after it, you could change it a bit and see how it looks like. If we were to connect the sin to a noon, the small one is easy, because you've got the 3, then you easily write a noon, and the noon is connected to this dot, so this is a dot for the noon, so this is sin. Meanwhile, the long one, the kshida one, you start here, you go down. By the way, the thickness changes, it starts thick then goes thin, unlike the ba stays thick all the way down to here. The sin decreases in thickness, as we can see. Back to here, we connect a sin to a noon. So far it looks like a normal scene, but what changes into a sin noon is adding the dot. Again, we have 2 shapes, we have the short one or the long one. So this is sin. If we were to write a scene, we just delete this one. I hope it's clear for the scene, because it's a letter that needs a bit of studying to get your head around the shapes and the variations that it can provide. Let's move on to the sad and see what we have in that letter. Now for sad and ta, we basically start with the vertical hold of the pen. We go up, then right. This is the first move. Then we go back like all the other letters, just smoothly in a rounded shape. Now here you would stop, and you would go back with the noon shape we talked about. And this would curve the other way around. By the way, these parts, these small parts, you could use the tip of the pen to write with, or just change to a smaller pen. But the tip of the pen is perfect with these ones. The same thing goes for the sad, which in the same thing we means by it, it's the ability to extend. So here we could, if we connect, this is the disconnected sad. If we connect to the sad, we have the option of increasing the length of the sad. Of course, we would use the different connection here, which is we go up, right, then we go back up until it's thin, as we can see here. Then we go back with a scene move Naqshbandi sheet, I mean. Finally, we could connect it to whatever, Salli ala Muhammad, for example. So we could extend the sod this long. By the way, the distance in here should be 1 point, the gap inside. The same rules go for the sod, the ones we talked about with the scene. So, for example, sod and sod, when we connect two sods together, we go up, right, go down, rotate, then go down, and here you could use this tip. We're going to talk about it just in a second. Let's continue this letter and just stop here. Now here, you could use the following. If you were to take a close up on this thing, the first move is easy, and the second one is normal. We went up. Now the third one, you go up and you go down. When you reach here to the edge of this letter, when you want to start to rotate, because it will contain the other side, you rotate the pen to just let it disappear here. This way, when you come back with the second side, they merge perfectly down here. Because if you were to simply just rotate and stop with this thickness, sometimes it will be visible when you go back, continuing it, as we can see here. You will have a small disconnection, small angle here. So it would be quite helpful if you were to rotate the pen and just finish it like a ra, to be able to write it perfectly like this one. This is like the sod and sod, note to be considered when we connect it. The same thing goes for the ta and the ain we spoke about in the scene. The same rules go with the ha. For example, sahih, sod, the connection, the special connection with the ha, then the ha again with the special ya, and here we go. So sahih, we've got the sod up to here. This nabira is for the sod. Then we've got the ha. Then we've got the ya. The ya is here. Then the other ha. The dots are for the ya. Hopefully it's clear. Practice the sahih word because it helps you to sort of arrange your writing and see how the angle works for this script. Now let's talk about sod in the middle. Here we have several ways of connecting it. We saw the normal one, which is going up, rotating, then doing another sod, for example. There's another way, like for example, you could, instead of stopping, you would do like the ruqa. You just go up, then right, then back. You could connect it like ruqa without stopping. So الصحابة, you could write it this way. You've got alif, lam, as we can see, the connection here is different from this one. We immediately rotated and just connected it immediately with the sod, and we can just add the ba here, Sahaba. Now with regards to the alif, the tip of the alif, here we have something called hilya. Helia means like jewelry. So you will see this in lots of Diwani. It's basically an addition to make the alif look pretty. You don't have to add it, it's up to you. You could just write it like we did with this scene over here, the first one we wrote. So as you can see here, we've got one without and one with. So that's just a decoration you add to the alif. You don't add to the lam, you just add to the alif. And this is for the sad. Now you've got something with the ta. For the ta, it is similar to the sad, with one difference, the fact that ta does not have a nabira with it. So for the ta and la, you go up and write the exact same thing as a sad. It should be thinner inside. Then you finish with the alif move. This move. The alif move, I mean the second move of the alif. So if we were to write alif here, it will perfectly connect to this, as we can see. This is just to show you, it's not a part of the letter. After that, we will add a first part of an alif to complete it. So we saw that this shape is basically the second shape of an alif. Then here we add the ta''s alif, which comes here. It has to come with the line here. So 1, 2, and 3. Now with regards to this alif, it also looks like this. Hashim al-Baghdadi sometimes wrote it like this. You've got two shapes, either a rotation and coming back, or just like the normal alif, a very sharp edge. You've got two options to use or to choose from. Now for the ta, since it doesn't have a nabira, you will have to think about ways of changing this move to be able to connect it. For example, tabib. It's very easy to write tabib because you are naturally going upward. So you could do the ba, add another ba, then another ba. For example, add this tabib, or just write it with a different you could use either of these. This one is prettier. We talk about the nabirat. Meanwhile, if you were to connect a ta to a ya, things get a bit tricky, because ya is a downward letter. So this is the ta. You're going back with your letter, you don't go up, you stop here, and you have to go back like this. You see this shape here? It's different from there. Here we use this ending, the ending that sort of easily and smoothly comes back. Now we use this shape, which is basically this one, when we have certain letters coming after it. For example, ha. Again, these letters are the letters that connect from above. Let's use the other way. So when it comes with a ha, when it comes with a ra, when it comes to a ha, the same old letters, rahima. This ha or the other ha, the one that goes like this. You've got two hats here. With a meme, for example, tamam or samim. Same case for both letters. This is ta. We start with the meme. We use the same move here to add to the meme here. And we add the alif for the ta. And the ya. we have to use it also there as explained by. Again, when we say yeah, that is at the end of a word. Inside the word is simply a nabira. We also have the same connection. For example, when it comes in the middle, you either do this, connect it, or you would do the other shape, the one that simply connects immediately with it. So this is just an explanation of these letters. Now let's do a sort of a revision. Let's review what we've spoken about today, because I know it is one of the most, let's say, focused and most, how can I say it, condensed lessons that we got so far on the channel. So for today's lesson we did Sin, Sad and Ta. We started by noting that there is a Kishida move, and this move is basically extending the letter way too far than it should be. Now this extension is equal to 10 or 12 points. Then we had a look at the sort of the second move of the body of the Sin and the Sheen, and we talked that it's like an inclined egg, an egg that's about to fall to the left. Then we spoke about the Sin with the connection. So we've got this special case for these letters, and normally it would look like this. We tried this word, su'al. Sa'i, we wrote it this way. This is the right one. We wrote sayyi'ah, just to see how it normally looks like. We've got three, then a ya, then a nabira with the hamza, and a ta marbuta. With the ya, we saw that it changes. The third nabira changes into this connection. Meanwhile, we saw the difference between sir and sad. Sir, we do 1, 2, up, then ra. Sad, on the other hand, we do 1, 2, 3, then we go quite far up, then we go down with a dal. Just to make sure that we know the difference. Now here, we've got this to also distinguish it from the normal case, the dal case. If we were to use a bigger pen, the rotation, as we can see here, so if you looked at this, we've got 1, 2, check how sharp this angle is. This is how it should look like. The angle up here is sharp. Meanwhile in the sad, it is a normal connection, because also if you were to look at the difference of heights, this is barely half a point. Like it's not too high. Meanwhile for sad, we really like go upward. 1, 2, 3, and we basically go with a normal ba move. And when we rotate and go back down, we do a curve here. It's not sharp, and this height is very different from the one with the ra. Two points. That's for the dal and ra. We had to clear that out of the way. Then we spoke about the other shape of the Sin, the long one, and how it looks connected, and in the middle, at the beginning too. The difference between the ba and the Sin, and how it's sort of decreases in size, doesn't keep the same thickness. We also spoke about when they connect to a noon, because it's a special case, because the ending of a scene is a noon. So what we do if we had a scene noon, this is how it looks like. Then we looked at the sod, and we saw the ending here, which we write with the tip of the pen, and we said that the sod also comes as a kshida, a long connection. We also talked about the shape that it takes when it connects to basically sod, ayn, and the same letters we talked about up there. Then we saw how the nebula of the sod changes shape when it connects to a ha. By the way, ha, mim, ra, like these letters are the same letters that connect from above. We wrote sahaba with the different connection down here with the middle sod. We also spoke about this, the hilya in the alif. Then we moved to the ta. Because we've studied Sad and Alif, Ta was easier relatively. We just had to pay attention to this move, the sort of sharp, edgy, delicate move right here. We start thin and we finish thin by just moving to the left and smoothly back downward. So we go down, left, rotation, then back here. We don't change the angle of the pen, it's the same angle. And we did the recap. For practice, if you wanted some words to practice, let's write tabib. We've got ta, ba, ya, ba. Again, look at this curve here, it contains the word. And let's write Sayyid. Let's write Subhan. Seen. You see how the ba connects here? Then we've got the ha, then alif. And we could do the noon. Subhan. Try these words. Or sabbaha. Seen. Ba. Ha. Try these words, and you could practice the sad and the ta here. You could use sad, dal, sadid. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Keep up the good practice. This has been Amar Awadi, and Assalamu Alaikum.